Good afternoon, happy Sunday, everybody. Starting a little bit later than I wanted to because I needed to wake up and I needed to eat. That's why we're starting at 11:45, 11:48 instead of 11. Slept in a little bit, more than I normally do, and on a Sunday, and yeah, stayed up playing some Baldur's Gate 3 last night with some friends. Had a fun time. But now I'm gonna jump back into the Puppeteer. Last time we looked at this actually was on shout out to Indestructible, who was doing pretty much did an impromptu design feedback stream on his channel, so definitely go check it out. It's up on his channel. I managed to pop in and hang out and talk, give my own advice on some stuff that was being shown, but also we took a look at the Puppeteer where I left off last time. First direct feedback on that, so pretty much we're going to be picking back up right where we left off from there. But before we jump into it, this stream is sponsored by Skyzephyrs, so I want to give a shout out about that. Skyzephyrs, a 5e supplement coming out from Homie and the Dude. So it is a third-party 5th edition product by father and son team and content creators Homie and the Dude here on YouTube, who cover TTRPGs and MMA content. So if you're into both of those things, perfect. It's a perfectly aligns. They have actual play content if you want to sit down and or listen to their adventures, like on a bus ride home, podcast style. You can go do that. Or if you're into MMA, they also interview MMA fighters in their local area. So their product, Skyzephyrs, aims to bring players ship and aerial combat rules to 5th edition that complements but doesn't bog down 5e combat. Along with the book, they're going to be coming out with a digital tool to help run the mechanics. So for those that need just a little bit of help, whether it's at a digital virtual table or at the physical table, you have a way to run it that'll even be even faster for you. So definitely go check it out. This is the last week. This coming week is going to be the last week that the Kickstarter is up. So definitely go check it out. I have a partner link in the description below. So you support them, you back that, I get a little kickback, and you support everybody, you get some cool product, you support them, you support me, everybody wins. So check it out. This week is going to be the last week for the Kickstarter. So yep, let's jump right into it now. We're gonna kind of go over where we left off and do a little bit of a review. So we're really trying to nail down the main mechanic, right? That is really what it is, to make it feel like you are controlling a puppet, you are manipulating it, and then pretty much we nail this down. We know exactly what to do with the rest of the features. We already know this is going to be a pack caster. The pack magic system pretty much is stemming from your relationship with your puppet that you are created. You're very much a Geppetto with the little, yeah, you're mainly a Geppetto without the fairy. You're putting a bit of your life essence into your puppet to animate it and be able to cast magic through it. That is the big thing. So after we figure that out, we kind of know what we need to do with the rest of the features. The other big thing that after we kind of nail down just exactly how this puppet works is a little bit of modularity, just because of how packed magic and packed magic classes are. Specifically, our only example really we have officially is Warlock, but there's a ton of third-party pack caster, pack progression classes that also have modularity in them to allow a little bit more customization. So yeah, so let's get into kind of where we left off with Enchanted Puppet. So we're going to be spending 10 minutes creating and infusing your puppet with magic. You can do this during a short or long rest. This is just a way for you, pretty much like a mini ritual. You're sitting there and taking the time to actually either create and infuse your magic, your puppet with magic. Excuse me. Sorry. Stumbling over myself. All right, so the puppet's going to animate, becoming a magical object under your control until you become incapacitated. You end your turn with the puppet being more than 30 feet away from you, or you use this feature to animate another puppet. So the 30 feet clause is to represent you controlling your puppet through like marionette string. All right, you can determine the cosmetic characteristics of the puppet, but your choice has no effect on its game statistics. Creating and enchanting the puppet this way consumes 10 GP worth of raw materials. All right, the puppet has the following characteristics. We're gonna give it a base AC, which is gonna be 10 plus your proficiency bonus as determined by this class and your charisma modifier. So it allows you to, it'll scale so that the puppet always feels like it's improving. Also, so since the big thing, since this is kind of like a class that is highly dependent on this object staying relevant, and also lessons I learned from playing pet classes and pet subclasses in 5e is that once you kind of lose your main shtick, once you lose your pet or a pet subclass, or in this case, like if we were to lose the puppet, the gimmick, like your whole character identity phases away. It sucks. It's not fun to play. I've had it happen multiple times where my Battlesmith Artificer pet would just die, and it made it kind of like useless, and pretty much all my subclass features were shut down. So I'm being very, very conscious of that. So what we're doing is that you and your puppet share a pool of hit points. And so there are some complications with that, but I think I figured it out. In cases of just being targeted by multiple spells, or being caught in like being caught in fireball range and other like AoE spells that generally do damage or have an effect. So you and your puppet share a pool of hit points. An ability or effect that would harm both of you only does so once. If the ability or effect will cause you both to make a saving throw, you instead only make a single saving throw with disadvantage. So very, very streamlined. You're only going to make one roll. You're only going to get hit with that effect once. So we kind of get around a lot of these issues with the shared hit point pool while still having the thematics and feeling that your character is infusing a bit of their own self, their own magic into their puppet. And also it avoids the issue of the puppet ultimately being taken out and you're not being able to do the puppeteer thing and having that active. Also, since the puppet is a magical object, it does avoid certain targeting issues. It doesn't need to have its own initiative. It inherently has a bunch of resistances because it is an object. So it's things that we can keep in mind. Only certain spells can actually target an object, so it's also already limited. So it's like already a huge buff and protection against it. This just kind of gives it that extra padding so that you just don't lose your character. Pretty much the whole concept, the whole identity behind this class. So along with that, you can also cast spells as though you were in the puppet space, but you must use your own senses. So pretty much it allows you to at least have an additional 30-foot range for your spell casting. What we're trying to work on now is puppet actions and how we're going to be able to control our puppet. I'm still not clear on how I want to go about this, but I definitely see using the use an object action, since nobody really plays with that in 5e officially. I think there's only one subclass in all of 5e that currently uses or has any features that deal with use an object action, which is the thief rogue, and they allow you to do it as a bonus action, I believe. So I'll get that right. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure that's all it really does. I know they changed it to Baldur's Gate 3 since I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate. Yeah, fast hand. As part of your cunning action, you can take the use an object action. So there's some interesting rules with the use an object action. Hold on, let me keep this separate. Pull it up. The use an object action. Right up here. So, use an object. You can normally interact with an object while doing something else, such as when you draw a sword as part of an attack. When an object requires your action for its use, use the use an object action. This action is also useful when you interact with more than one object on your turn. So we pretty much get a free object interaction on our turn most of the time, and it's really any other time when either an object requires you to use an object action to use the object, or if you're attempting to use an object or interact with the space a second time after that free action is when you got to use an object interaction. And that's pretty much the only rules we have on use an object. That's it. So it's like those little things we got to keep in mind how this action works. So what I'm trying to do is really figure out pretty much how much we really need to enforce that kind of action to use with this class. What's going on, Nick? Kind of just getting started. So we're working on the puppet actions, which is like going to be the one of your bread and butter abilities for this class. So right now, this is what I have in my mind cooking for this. How we're going to be able to control this puppet. On your turn, you can move your puppet up to 30 feet as your free object interaction. So you get to do it for free. During each of your turns, you can take the use an object action to have your puppet make a spellbinding performance. And then we have the option like a bunch of spellbinding performances. Maybe this is going to be our level of customization that we can have, or maybe we could just simplify the set of actions you can do, and then we just bring spellbinding performance as our second level feature that has the customization. Another way we can like add on later. Actually, give me a sec, guys. I need to just run to the restroom really quick. Alrighty, we're back. Alright, let's do this. Let's do the thing. Okay, you know what? We're going to... We're gonna move this here. I don't need... I think for puppet actions, at least on the first level, we need to keep it a little bit simple. A lot of what we're going to be doing is being able to reposition the puppet, right? And maybe have it take some basic interactions, some basic functions. Really have to think what we're really wanting it to do as a use object interaction, as a way to kind of command the puppet. Basic pretty much use object interaction to pretty much command it to attack, like take basic actions. Might be a way to do it. And that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, maybe some sort of evocation system. But at least that's where some customization is going to come in. I'm thinking maybe treat it more like, for spellbinding performance, treat it more like a cleric's channel divinity, where you're going to have a base option in the class, and then each subclass will get you an additional use, like an alternate use that is more flavorful towards the class. So keep it that, yeah, you have a base option, then you have that, and then at later levels you can use it multiple times. And then at third level, we have like a role definer for your puppet. So for those that kind of want a puppet that's more of a tank, maybe that's what we can do. You have your puppet become a tank, and maybe they become equipped with a shield and a weapon. You flavor it however you want. How it just becomes a little bit more defensive. It does a different role, and maybe during downtime you can swap the roles of your puppet. So that's what I'm thinking. This one I'm kind of taking inspiration from, at least that third level feature, taking inspiration from Final Fantasy. I think it's 11 when I was reading up on it, and then other puppeteer machinist kind of classes do this too in the Final Fantasy series. That job is that when they have a puppet or a machine, they're able to pretty much spot fill roles. So what I'm thinking is that, third level feature. Hold on. We're gonna need to add some features later on. Just depends on how much level customization we're gonna want out of this. So you get spellbinding performance. We'll just be cheeky and call this critical role. Critical role. So this. Okay, so I'm gonna just put basic language until I can clean this up so I can get the idea out of my head right now. When you enchant your puppet or spend time during a short or long rest, you can We're gonna do tank. We're going to do utility. Oh, frontliner. It's just frontliner utility. Do something like that. Frontliner utility. For those that maybe are utility expert, maybe something that's more beneficial to do outside of combat. So for those that are looking for more of a puppet that kind of enhances their abilities and not necessarily more roleplay centered, but they don't really want to have a puppet or see their character have a puppet that is very combat driven. So utility, skill expert. Some ideas off the top of my head with this sort of like we need a name for the subclasses too. I really wanted them under Enchanted Puppet, but that might just be puppetry. Might just go puppetry for the subclasses. Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, they get some sort of special melee attack. Yeah, they get something. I kind of want to call these, might not be critical role, to be honest. It might just be like because like, okay, like that's the name of the role, like slapstick, and that's going to be your frontliner, that their main attack is slapstick, like they hit people with stuff, and maybe you have a special attack. Some ideas though, like hold on, we'll just go frontliner. We'll name these in a bit. We'll do goad effect, sentinel, and then special melee attack. So what I'm thinking, right, is this: you get a base level spellbinding performance for the class, or yeah, from the class. Your subclass gives you an option also, and then this third level feature where you have a role definer also gives you an option. So like frontliner will have they use a spellbinding performance to goad people, which what I mean by goad is that they give a target disadvantage on hitting anybody else but them. Those kind of like a goad feature that you incentivize the DM to target your character because it's bad to target everybody else. Yeah, we're gonna just keep critical role as there because it's just funny. The problem I'm seeing right now, right, is if this is going to be customizable, or you can swap these options out, that's a lot of, let's just like rewriting. So I think I might limit being able to switch it out, because I do want people to be able to have some level of customization of like switching them out to an extent if they don't like it. Yeah, I gotta see. Who else goes? I want to say Cavalier Fighter has a goad feature. Spirit Guardian Barbarian has a goad feature. Armor Artificer, the Guardian form, has a goad feature. Like it is pretty much like the main tank ability for 5e. I'll combo that off with like Sentinel, the Sentinel feat, where that is really what tanking in 5e is. I really should do a full video on like what makes a good tank, like what is tanking in 5e, because there's definitely, I probably should do a collab with this one too, because there's definitely a misconception, especially if you're coming over from MMOs, or you're coming over, yeah, you're mainly coming over from MMOs, and what they define tanking in that, pretty much in their systems. What's going on, Fallen? Yeah, and so tanking in MMOs does not translate well into 5e, in large part because your DM is not an AI. There's no way to maintain an aggro or calculate aggro in the same sense. And also aggro features that are very commonplace in MMOs don't translate well into tabletop because they take away agency. They just remove agency from the DM, who is also, I think what people need to realize, is an active player in the game as well. Yeah, they play every other character, they run the story, but they're also another player at the table, and taking away any sort of agency from them so that they can react to the player's actions and help craft story is just a bad time. Oh, have you seen what they put in the new Unearthed Arcana? I have. Originally, this stream was going to be a UA, a discussion stream, and to be honest, I get tired of, like, since I'm kind of like the last guy to talk about all this stuff on the weekend, I see every awesome take, bad take throughout the week, and I just get burnt out. So if you haven't seen Indestructible's take on this UA, I recommend watching his VOD on it. It pretty much, I really echo his sentiments on what they're kind of doing, for the most part. But yeah, I will be doing a UA discussion, but it's gonna be for patrons, and it's gonna be for it's gonna be this once episode of Unpacked. I'm gonna do a little solo podcast episode where I just go over my opinions on the UA. And if you want to check that out, it's really just $1 on the Patreon and $1 on here on YouTube to be a member, to listen to every episode so far. Yeah, especially how volatile people have been getting towards the UAs. Yeah, and that's too, and that's one thing. I realized too when I was talking about the last UA with the monk, and I love the monk class. I wanted to be improved, but what I've noticed with this UA process, and just also being a content creator trying to navigate this, especially in a post OGL controversy niche, is nobody's happy. Like nobody's happy. Nobody's gonna be happy with anything. So especially with the way the UAs are, it seems like a large portion of the community, and the one that's kind of winning out, and since it's a majority rules voted system, is kind of getting what they want, where they're not getting radical change to 5e, but there's still enough changes and somewhat improvements. Like, it can't say that all the changes are bad, but improvements that, one, we've kind of been asking for, or in a way it might just not be ideal how we want those improvements, but we're still getting a game that's mostly backwards compatible. And then you got another portion of the community, of the fan base, the player base, that really just want 5e to burn to the ground so they can get a 6e, and are upset that it's no longer going to be like this super radical change to the game. And I find it funny because like some of those voices were the same people that said they wanted a backwards compatible game. So it's like it's really, really weird. And at that point, I have to ask those people, if you're not happy playing this game and they're not giving you the thing you want, do you really want to play D&D? Because some of this stuff I hear people wanting to put into the game and wish they had more of. I'm like, you're starting to sound like you want to play Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I fully approve you go play that game. You'll get everything you kind of want out of it, just not the D&D name, you know? So it's just, for me, having to interact with different aspects of the community, it can just be a little overwhelming at times and just tiring. And especially when not all the vibes are positive. And it's not so much that we can't critique, right? I'm all for critiquing and giving opinions and pretty much holding people accountable for, especially like OGL situation, holding people, Wizards and Hasbro, accountable for their actions. But it's what I mean by doing it in a positive way, I mean in a productive manner. That's really what I should be saying, and not just doing it to attack people. And that's what, for me, is what I don't want to bring into this space. I know there's now a new group that's been saying that they want the game like how it is in PG. Baldur's Gate 3 does a really good job of doing a version of 5e, but I will say this, playing way too much of it, not all of that stuff's going to translate into a tabletop game. It is very much a video game, and I'm perfectly happy with that. There's a lot of cool ideas they can lift and try to incorporate, but also, since the game handles some of these functions a lot smoother and faster, that cannot be replicated at the table one for one. And there's also some changes that they're doing. I know one D&D that I agree with and generally like what they're doing with certain classes and kind of like fixing them. Like, I will say Barbarian still kind of has like a late game problem in terms of like power and being able to not so much keep up, but doing cool shit in the high end with what they're doing with 1DD. But it's not like they're not introducing cool stuff for Barbarian and fixing some problems with it either. Like specifically the Berserker subclass looks actually fun to play now. Like they completely changed it. It actually looks cool. And then they introduced the World Tree path Barbarian, which is sick. It's another tank subclass that the Barbarian doesn't always have. So like there's cool ideas. All right, let's get back to Puppeteer. A cool ability for the special melee attack using Booming Blade to knock the enemy prone if large or smaller. That would probably be something we can like add in as it progresses, right? Because that's Booming Blade's already stupid good, but knocking the enemy prone and stuff, that could be something that can be leveled into. So this is what we're on in Frontliner. Yeah, because right now what I'm thinking with Critical Role, do we want this switchable, right? Do we want, because when we're looking at current Warlock, do I still, okay, I'm a dummy. I did not keep it open. When we're looking at current Warlock, when we have like invocations, right? No, not invocation, we got pack boons. They can't change them. And now we're looking at 1D&D Warlock, right? They're getting rid of packed boons in a way where it's not a separate feature. It's a... And... And the 1D&D version, right? They're getting rid of packed boons in a way that it's not its own separate feature. It is now, they're part of invocation, which is kind of cool because for building purposes, it makes melee locks viable with every subclass and you don't have to really multi-class dip, which is awesome. Also, as a designer, frustrates me a little bit because now that you can do the melee lock, the whole idea behind the Dark Knight trope class that I've been trying to really figure out how to work, you could just do that with Warlock easy. Easy. So it's just like, damn. I'll honestly, the Dark Knight, Reaver, Dreadnought, I will figure that out. Something will click. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Changed me either. I like the viability of allowing a certain playstyle in fantasy for that, but it also comes at the cost of like the other two options, right? And they're going to compete. Those packed boon weapon, the packed boons as invocations now, are going to have to compete with the Eldritch Blast chain of features, right? Instead of adding on to it, which could be an issue because the Eldritch Blast chain of invocations are really, really solid, really, really good. You could change the critical role position, PV per rest, maybe. Yeah. First bonus per rest, maybe. So let's look at pack boons for this, right? You just pick one, and that's it. This is your definite. Let's look at invocations. I think invocations 2 are permanent. Currently are a permanent picture, right? Okay, additionally, when you gain level, so you can choose one of the invocations you know and replace it with another invocation that you can learn at that level. I think this will be the best bet with this. This, or just have it that, yeah, during a long rest, it takes you a little bit longer to customize your puppet. Either way, getting a little ahead. But yeah, this is what I'm thinking for this. Improve casting. Yeah, I really know what as a tank main, I know what I want out of this of the tank one. Utility, I'm thinking I don't like that. I don't like. Okay. We'll get to these in a bit. I know there's a way to do this. Do with these, and I'm gonna pull up another screen. Up on my screen. Okay. Other than that, we'll come back to Critical Role to really figure it out and the spells by performance. Like, and we need it, or we're just gonna up a tree. I don't like that name for the subclasses, but it's what it is. Kind of like we're getting we got to get the subclass as early as possible. I think we have too much going on with the way Enchanted Puppet works or needs to work, and stage magic has to function, which is our spell casting, that there's too much power budget there that we need to get our subclass at second level. I would love to have it under first level, but I think we have too much going on with Enchanted Puppet. But what I need to figure out is what kind of actions can we go about doing with our puppet that we want, because we can do repositioning, right? We know we can reposition it, and we know we're going to cast with stage magic. But what other actions do we want out of the puppet to be able to perform? Oh, I know what I'm going to pull up too. This. I like is the new Hobgoblin. The new playable Hobgoblin, or the more recent playable updated Hobgoblin from Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse. The help action buffs are pretty neat. Those are all pretty neat. Where is? Look all the way down. Excuse me. Another thing. Oh, we can look at. Okay, all right. I forgot. I completely forgot about the sidekick, quote unquote classes. Those will be a good option to look at to fill out what we can do with the critical roles. Damn it, where's the archive? Where's it at? School of Lore Mastery. No, Mage of Lorehold. The old UAs are going to be good too. There's a lot of alternate functions in there. Okay, I'm just pulling them up all on my side screen. Try to pull them up when I can up on screen. Oh my god. Oh my Jesus. Dude. Alright. Okay. Hobgoblin. Pull this up. Trying to see, maybe who was it that had, want to say it was on DM's Guild. Let me double check. If you guys haven't seen or looked at or know, if you're looking for like really solid, really thought out 5e like third-party classes, definitely check out Raw Slicer's work on the DM's Guild. Tons and tons of amazing stuff on there. One of the classes that it's kind of inspiring some of the design of this class. The Urgent. Raw Slicer. Really solid class that if you're really into the kind of summoning style from like Final Fantasy X, where you were able to summon but the creature was with you for a certain amount of time in your party and it fought alongside you instead of like the really big long pretty much cutscene that would play, the cutscene animations that would play every time you summon them. You like more of the Final Fantasy X style. This is pretty much that class. You summon an aspect, you summon a part of you that is this pretty much this mythical summoning this beast to fight alongside you. But taking inspiration from this, because Ross kind of figured out how some of this the interactions with the action economy should work, but given that this class, mine, the puppeteer, we're using a magical object, so we don't have to worry about initiative, we don't have to worry about like certain things. We're safe in a way. But I want to pull this up for you guys to see. Go check this class out. Hold on. This class right here. Go check this one out. The Emergent. Really solid. And then here's a list of all Ross's other classes he's done. Most notably, though, you guys, Ultimate Adventurers Handbook. I would definitely go check that out. That was him and Benjamin Huffman. Their class, the Accursed, Ross's class, the Accursed, and also Benjamin Huffman's Pugilist are both in there. Also, the Sculptor has the remastered edition with art by Maxwell, who's also does all the work and art for Terran and Indestructible Boy are here too. So definitely go check this out. You get really balanced, really innovative and evocative classes that can't, like, those fantasies can't really be fulfilled with either a single subclass in 5e, and you're wanting to play something different, but also like it's again balanced and works at your table. Definitely go check out Ross Leiser's stuff. Can't say that more than enough. His designs are, he manages to solve a lot of problems I think designers that are, especially like me, novice designers, are trying to figure out. He just looks at the game in a way that is super inspiring. Yeah, Ross's stuff is so good. Manages to take a lot of what I think many people would feel maybe just niche subclass, like could just be a subclass, and manages to find the right amount of fantasy and to take inspiration from those fantasies and fill it out so that it can be a full class. And it's not even padding either. It's just like you can just see that the fantasy for these classes are there and should and have a full class to support it to allow players to better play out the characters that they want to play. I think that's the give and take for 5e, is that while in previous editions, from my understanding, I didn't really play any D&D prior to 5e. I think a couple of 4e games, but not enough to really for it to matter. But from what I've seen at other editions, everything was class-based, and that's what I see with Pathfinder also, class-based. So it makes a lot more sense that you can have a single class in those designs that can allow players to play that fantasy. But 5e has the subclass system, so you have the classes act more as a tent pole for multiple archetypes. So they shovel certain fantasies within the broader scope of things, which at times does eat up certain fantasies that probably have a better chance of being explored as a full class. And after the Artificer, 5e Wizards is not really going to pursue any other classes. We've seen what they've done with psionics, and that they don't have a dedicated class for it, and instead are going to put psionics in various subclasses throughout all their main classes. But yeah, that's why a third-party scene kind of comes in and puts those fantasies in there, because there can be arguments made for Puppeteer to just be a bard subclass, right? But I think there's enough fantasy behind it that you can play that out and have multiple. You can have a full class dedicated to it that plays differently, that plays into the fantasy, but also, and it's not really just bard with puppet. there's a lot of direction, I think, in terms of how classes can be created and built from the ground up. I try to still lean in on a narrative-driven approach to it, but I know there are others that design with mechanic in mind first and trying to find the narrative that fits with the mechanic best. Neither are wrong. What I want to look with Ross is switch. Ross figured out something in terms of what he allows his emergent pet to do on its turn. So that's what I'm gonna pull right now. But I believe in 3.5 had a prestige class system, which is basically multi-classes to make a single class fantasy. Yeah, I know there was still like multi-classing involved, but there's also the prestige classes too that kind of expanded on it. From what my buddies would tell me, they were 2 or 3 of my players of my play group have been, actually no, 4. 4 of them have played 3.5 for that was like their main D&D for a very long time, and then only the one that mainly DM'd for us was the one that kept up with D&D and switched over to 4E, and then eventually switched over to 5E, and then the rest of us all played during 5E. I really wish we could have gotten a psionic class. I think there's room for it, but I don't think Wizards' approach to it is going to make anybody really happy with it, to be honest. As a fan of somebody that's played an Artificer, that's been a fan of that fantasy, they didn't nail the Artificer, and I actually don't really like the design of the class anymore. And I don't trust Wizards to really develop a class at this point with the way that they're approaching content. If you want to play a psychic class, I shout out to Drunken Yoda, aka Daryl. He has a psychic class that's up on DriveThruRPG. That is a 5e class that takes the psionic die system that was introduced with the psionic classes and makes it into a full-fledged system for a class. So if you want something like that, so you're using something what you're used to using already, but you want a full class that has all pretty much psionic inspired tropes, a lot of X-Men inspired stuff too. I will say that he was on a big X-Men kick when he was developing that. I would say go check it out on DriveThruRPG, the Psychic by Daryl Dominguez. It's a really solid system. It plays with the psionic die, so it's very, very familiar. It makes it into a full system. So yeah, I would go check that one out. You really want a psychic class. Prestige classes are cool though. Some have really odd requirements. It's an interesting system. Pretty much like a prestige system like that, where you're leveling into those classes, is like a soft subclass system, or it's an alternate subclass system, not a soft one, but it's an alternate subclass system. That's pretty much what you're doing with a subclass in a lot of ways. So this is what Ross has for his actions. On your turn, you can move your puppet up to 30 feet as your free object interaction. During each of your turns, you could take the use an object action to have your puppet I'm thinking not allowing the puppet at this point to be able to make weapon attacks or like any sort of attack. keep it really simple. It has a basic set of things that it can do. It can use the help action, it can search or use an object. And then that's when we get into like the critical role feature, where the frontliner gets the attack action, right? The utility and improved casting get other actions. So keep it really simple. Make it a mobile, pretty much a mobile familiar in a lot of ways. Or our main thing we're going to be doing with this class, at least at the first level, is cast magic. So we're going to position our puppet in a way. Boom. Position it for free, and then cast spells through it. And then what we can do at extra attack like feature, these are two ideas. The one I'm liking the most is that's pretty much what it is. I don't really see any option, any other option. With the extra attack like feature, maybe have an option to give a second reaction to your puppet is within 10 feet of you. Giving extra reactions is really strong. really strong. What we want to be able to do, because you got to understand, when we do this, is that use an object interaction. The use an object action is one full action. So what we want to be able to do is be able to offer that action, have it be something that's a lot easier to do, so that it doesn't eat up your action economy, so that you can kind of do your main thing, which is going to be casting spells through your puppet, or use spellbinding performance, or since it's going to be like the reason I'm doing it as a bonus action, moving it there, it's kind of like a power upgrade, so you're not trading off, like you're still going to be able to do your main thing now, but also you're still going to be able to do your puppet thing. That's why I'm thinking making it as a bonus action here, as your extra attack feature, so that say that you have your frontliner, right, on your turn, okay, boom, you use your bonus action to do a goad effect or whatever, and then you use your own action now to cast a spell through it. Or even then, say you took the utility expert or an improved caster, and you use your extra attack or your bonus action now to command it at the higher level, at 5th level, to do a help action, right? Boom, help action, and then now you cast your spell. I think that's too much to do at 1st level. It's really, really strong. But at a later level, it might not be that bad. But I do think just saying, oh, you have use an object action as a bonus action at 5th level is kind of boring. It just depends on the kind of actions we're going to be giving at the earlier levels to make it this actually stronger than what it seems. Is that? Oh my god. Psychic puppetry. Look at Magic Gathering cards. There's a lot of creepy puppeteer. So there's a Magic the Gathering card that's called Creepy Puppeteer, and it pretty much is inspiring one full subclass. I will straight up tell you that right now. Okay, they do. Somebody does the art. So we'll pull it up right now. Pull it up so you guys can see. Switch over to big. Pull it up right now. You guys can see. Bam. This is inspiring a full subclass. We will have like a melee puppeteer that fights alongside their puppet. we'll have one. Kind of have to now. Saw this, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna do it. Gonna do it. You gotta do it. Okay. Thinking, okay. Let's... At 1st level, you can spend 10 minutes creating and infusing your puppet with magic. You can do this during a short or long rest. The puppet animates, becoming a magical object under your control until you become incapacitated. You end your turn with the puppet being more than 30 feet away from you, or use this feature to animate another puppet. You can determine the cosmetic characteristics of the puppet, but your choice has no effects. Okay. That would harm both of you. So once. On your turn, you can move your puppet over 30 feet. As your free object interaction during each of your turns, you can take the use an object action to have your puppet take the help search for use an object action. What other actions we kind of have? That's not a monster, man. That is under monster. Monster. Excuse me. Actions in combat. Look through this stuff. See, even if there's not something we're not gonna miss, right? That's really what it comes down to. Something that that makes sense. I don't think objects. Okay, we don't need disengage because objects don't trigger opportunity attacks. Maybe the dodge action. Hide. Help. Hide. Okay, we can't do hide. We can't do the hide because this thing doesn't have its own stealth. Doesn't have its own dex or stealth. So we can't do hide. Ready action we don't need because the puppeteer will have the ready action. Search. Can't do search. The puppet doesn't have would the base class have an extra attack feature, or would you change it so it's given to the frontliner archetype? I would actually change it so that it's given to the subclass. Because if we move our extra attack feature right now, I'm thinking is just making use an object action as a bonus action. And since other features for the puppet, at least currently, would be done so that you have to use a object action to command your puppet, like make an attack, a special attack. Moving this, making it now that as a bonus action would allow you to cast spells, which you're still gonna have good spells, and then boom, you also be able to keep doing melee stuff with your frontliner option, your tank option. Gotta think about it this way, like, would you allow a wizard to cast 2 spells a turn? Like naturally, it's just like, okay, they hit 5th level, would you allow them to cast 2 spells? No. What I'm trying to do is search. We can't do search. Use an object. Ready, hide, help, dodge. We do the dodge. How does that look? On your turn, you can move your puppet up to 30 feet as your free object interaction. During each of your turns, you can take the use an object action to have your puppet take the dodge, help, or use an object action. Thinking too, thief rogue can use an object action as a bonus action, right? But they're also use an object action isn't going to include attack. This will include attacks because that's how we're going to command the puppet. I'm thinking maybe though, because I'm thinking maybe later on, right? We might be able to use the use an object interaction twice, or for two to function twice, you know, in an extra attack way, like at a later level. I just popped open Indestructiboy's merchant class because I know it has some features. I don't have digital copies, but I know I have 2 printed copies. I have printed copies of his books, and I know the merchant has a use object interaction options. So right now, I was quickly looking at it. Maybe some direction or idea for later, or maybe something to do with puppet actions that'll kind of trigger something in my head. Because right now, we have a lot going on with this. At first level, you can spend 10 minutes creating and infusing your puppet with magic. You can do this during your short or long rest. The puppet animates. But after this, right, dodge, help, or use an object action. We're not really doing too much with it, right? Outside of being able to cast spells. I think this is enough for first level, to be honest. Considering stage magic is going to allow us to cast spells through it, and we pretty much have this movable pet. But yeah, I'm looking through the merchant because I agreed to run my own class in our 5e game, the Luchador, because our group doesn't really have a frontliner, and I'm not really liking my high-level artificer of all things. So I was like, okay, I'll just play my own class. Screw it, I'm gonna do it. I don't really get to, like, I've been wanting to play my class for a bit, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make my guy. But then I have another character that was a arcane trickster rogue goblin who was a salesman. But in every sense of the word, I use car salesman. And I just saw a subclass in the merchant. I'm like, man, I could have just swapped the character for that. Like, or made the same characters, just switch his class to the merchant. But we have a lot of spellcasters in the group, so we have a lot of spellcaster support already in the group, so we actually need no frontliners. But man, I want to bring my character back in with the merchant. Okay, so I know his alchemist had a object interaction. that's my artificer was level 14. Battlesmith, unfortunately, since the pet doesn't scale well. That is again a big issue with pet kind of subclasses and even classes to a big extent. It's just once the pet is taken out, that's it. So the pet didn't really do too much. Wasn't as active as I needed to be, and it didn't actually do really any of the damage that I needed it to do, because it just died all the time. So love that character. I've roleplayed that character for that's probably my longest running character I've played. But I just, yeah, that subclass is just not fun for me at that level. Early levels, I think it's fine, but as soon as you get into like the mid-high tier gameplay, yeah, it falls off just because the pet can't keep up. If I were to play that character again, I really don't know. I probably have to go third party to better support it, because none of the official, outside of the Battlesmith, none of the official Artificer subclasses actually fit with the character I have in mind for it. So I don't know. I'd have to figure something out for my boy. But so I'm gonna have that character chill in the background. I'm gonna bring in a level 13 luchador. I'm gonna go Mask of the Glory Seeker. Go with my vanilla option, and I'm gonna powerbomb some giants, because we're gonna be playing giants. Oh, that reminds me actually. Let me move back to solo share. It's a little announcement. It reminds me. This Friday, the Luchador will be on sale from September 15th to October 15th in celebration of Hispanic and Latin American Heritage Month. I don't know why they have it dated between those 2 months instead of having it one dedicated month, but it's there. So in celebration of that, Luchador will be on sale on the DMs Guild. I believe I'm gonna put it at half price. You guys will be able to pick it up with pretty much one more big future update and fixes to come for it. Pretty much after we're done with the Puppeteer, I'm gonna jump back into Luchador and fix it and get the update ready to go. So yeah, expect that Friday. 50% off from the 15th to the 15th in celebration of Hispanic and Latin American Heritage Month. Okay, trying to see what we can do. I think I'm maybe overthinking it. I think for the enchanted puppet, this is good enough, right? It does what we need it to do. I don't think there's anything else it has to do, to be honest. I'm not seeing that there's any real problem with it. But part of me also says, man, something's missing. I don't know what it is, but something's missing. But maybe that's just me. I think, you know what we can look at? I want to look at really quick. Tiny servants. What does tiny servant allow us? Tiny Servant the monster and Tiny Servant the spell. It just got slammed. Okay, don't nothing. Okay, let's look at the spell. What's the spell? Okay. All right, we're good. All right, I'm comfortable with the options. Like looking at Tiny Servant because that was a big inspiration for this function. We don't need to put puppet actions. On your turn, you can move your puppet up to 30 feet as your free object interaction. During each of your turns, you can take the use an object action to have your puppet take the dodge help or use an object action. We need some language help. Channel live. Or other option. You can take the use an object action to have your puppet take the dodge, help, use an object action or other, or additional. Additional actions granted. Use an object or additional actions granted you as you advance in levels. As you advance in levels of this class. That's okay. I think the wording's clunky, but on your turn, you can move your puppet up to 30 feet as your free object interaction. During each of your turns, you can take the use an object action to have your puppet take the dodge, help, use an object action, or additional actions granted as you advance in levels in this class. Okay. One thing I'm not too keen on is the wording on your turn. You can move your puppet up to 30 feet as your free object interaction. I have it there so that if you you need to use another item, that you have to use an object interaction to use that item. And this is more like a flavorful thing that you have to you're controlling commanding your pet to do it. Excuse me, you're controlling commanding you're controlling your puppet to actually do this, so it does take some things to do. Stage magic. Okay, spellbinding performance. Type puppets. second level. Something like that, maybe. Yeah, oh, that's a good question. Let's look that up right now. Let's look at the Tasha's. That was one of those things too. You actually have to go through Tasha's because for whatever reason, this is the weirdest thing, right? So on D&D Beyond, if you go to the classes, it has the alternate options for the classes there from Tasha's as optional options. But if you go to Beastmaster, it doesn't put the optional or the alternative pets in there. It's the weirdest thing. So you actually have to go to Tasha's Cauldron or everything to get to those Beastmaster alternate pet option. So Beastmaster companions. Alright, we're gonna this. Let's go to a big boy screen. Boom. Okay. Here's some of the pet. In combat. Yeah, in combat, it can move and use its reaction on its own. So it has its own autonomy. So that's the thing with the puppet. The puppet doesn't have its own autonomy at all. It is a tool, but it is an object. So you have to control it. Yeah, this is something when I was on the critique live stream with Taryn and Ketup, when we looked at the Puppeteer, this was kind of my original intent with it, but I also did a pet option based off of some other feedback from other folks, and pretty much it made a lot more sense to make it an object. So since we don't have the pet doesn't have autonomy, that's fine. So yeah, I think we're okay. Well, what I'll probably do is run this by Taryn for some feedback too later when he gets a chance, just so that we know maybe we can have the cleaner language with this. All right, give me a sec, be right back. I'm gonna run to the restroom really quick and then also get some water. My throat's getting a little dry. Alrighty, we're back. Okay, so we're here. You put your performance at second level. You choose one of your. You choose one. You choose one style of puppetry that enables you to channel magical energy through your puppet to elevate your performance. Second, 6th, 10th, and 14th level. Bewitching puppetry. Cool. Subclass there. Spellbinding performance. Okay, this is gonna be that option. I kind of want to bring this back. Okay, let's see. Okay. So, spellbinding performance. There's a couple ways we can do this. Trying to think. I very much prefer like this is kind of be like a not so much a customization system, but it's because while the Warlock invocation system is cool, you can build a level like you have the option of like really customize your character, which is cool. I think for those that want to do that with their puppet, I can understand, like, to make your puppet feel more special. But I think that goes against the idea of spellbinding performance. where I think I want it to be like a near AoE like effect, where you're moving your puppet in positions and then popping this effect off. We're gonna do this. We're gonna start off with this language. Puppetry. Starting second level, you gain the ability to channel magical energy to your puppet's performance. Using that energy to create magical effects. You start with 2 effects: Captivate and an effect determined by your style of puppet. Again. There's this. Okay. I always thought that the uniqueness of the puppet should have been tied to the subclass. Yeah. And that was one of the things I was trying to figure out, because I really wanted, just like the Warlock, to have the puppet gain features. The puppeteer gain specific features to their puppet on first level and get your subclass at first level. That's what I really wanted. I think in terms of what we're attempting to do, it might be too much. You can use such an effect in this class. When you use such an effect from class DC. So there's still a good chance that we can sneak the subclass at a first level. I'm gonna be honest. And if it is, and if we do get subclass options at first level, it's maybe something, they get one action that is special that they can use. Got me thinking. It's because I'm trying to think. We might be able to pull it off. I'm gonna be honest, because we're not doing too much with the puppet outside of being able to cast from its position, right? That's in reality, and use the help action. But as a first level character, you get Find Familiar as a wizard. Excuse me. I don't think it's out of the realm of, because you're not attacking with a puppet. Like, it's not adding extra damage, like, whatsoever. It's not doing anything different. You know what? I think we can do it. Okay. Okay, yeah. Screw it. We're doing it. I think we can pull this off. We'll see if we get told it's too much later when we get some feedback. I think we can do this. At first level, you choose one enchanted puppet that you channel magic energy through to elevate your performance. Your choice grants you features at first level, and again at 2nd, 6th, 10th, and 14th level. You could spend 10 minutes creating and infusing your puppet with magic. You can do this during your short or long rest. The puppet animates. Okay, all the same basic rules. Yeah, I think we're okay. What we will put, unlike the warlock and the sorcerer, like, I'm looking at what they do at first level, where their first level really dictates a pattern of playstyle and has a much more I guess an active feature. Like, and the same thing for the cleric. They get something, their subclass feature at first level that has a lot more weight. I think we can peel back a little, and I think we can take inspiration from Indestructible Boy's Zodiac class. I'll pull that one up. And that's another, I've been saying I need to do a write-up on this. I might just do a video review, to be honest. Let me pull it up so you guys can see. Take inspiration from his class too, because it is also a pad caster, and then his subclass is also chosen at first level. Okay. Do this, pull it up on the screen for you guys to see. I think we're kind of good shape. Definitely go pick this class up. It's really fun. I was actually playing the healer class, subclass version of this, which isn't my playstyle, and it's highly dependent on whether my only critique in it, and I think it's generally just because of healing in 5e as a whole. So it's not necessarily a problem with the subclass, it's just a problem with how 5e handles healing. When the subclass heals, it's nuts, but healing's only gonna matter when it needs to happen. So sometimes you might feel like you're not doing too much, but that is a playstyle thing. And also, I think encounter building and stuff like that too. Because I think one of the cool things I can say for Baldur's Gate 3 compared to how I've played 5e at the table is that Baldur's Gate 3 makes healing matter. Like you do really need to be able to heal and have access to healing as you're playing. And that's not necessarily the same experience you'll have at the table. But what I want to look at for the Zodiac is that they do get their subclass at first level also. But what I liked, and they also get a feature at second level, which is also what I like. The Celestial Transformation sick. It's such a sick feature there. But yeah, they get their subclass at first level, which is their Zodiac sign. So let's go look at what he does here. If I were to actually play this class again, I probably would play Sign of the Archer, because it's sick. This is like, damn, just let me play a Astro Elf Sign of the Archer Zodiac with Elven accuracy and sharpshooting and all that cheese. Woo, B. I'm going in. Yeah, this one's actually more of like my kind of play style in terms of like, I like martial characters in general. So, and then Sign of the Hand is also good too. Okay, but what I liked, there is an expanded spell list here. It's something we probably won't really need depending on what it is. But that's pretty much, he gives them an expanded spell list, assigned spell, yeah, expanded spell list, and Archer Rising, and then like a base thing. We probably will have one or the other, and that's pretty much it for first level. If we're gonna do like a subclass at first level because of the puppet, well, we might be able to get away with a little bit more. Because what I would like to do, well, we don't have to give them a special action if Spellbinding Performance is going to give them an additional action at second level. Archer Rising, the Archer is a sign oath. So yeah, we'll do that. Because I'm not... We'll weigh on the idea of like giving an expanded spell list at first level. I'm not sure if all subclasses are going to need it, but we'll see. It might be something cool we can do. Okay, but yeah, Zodiac, check it out. It's sick. It's such a fun class. Okay. What I like though, this class is shaping up a lot faster and a lot smoother, I think, compared to what I was trying to do with the Dreadnought and Reaver. I will get back to that Dark Knight class eventually. It's just, I think what I need to do is find a solid playstyle mechanic that does something different with the system. Is really what I'm attempting to do with it. That opens up, plays with the system differently, but also opens up a certain playstyle that is not given to half casters so far. And for me, I'm thinking, to be honest, maybe we'll do something with using hit die as a spending mechanic until they figure out. I don't want to wait till like post 5, like 2024 release for that one, to be honest. But that might be a thing, because they got to figure out if they're going to keep exhaustion the way it is, because using exhaustion as a limit to, in a way, was interesting. But we'll see. We'll figure that one out. I want to do that one too. Okay, here. So okay, let's get Spellbinding Performance. Starting at second level, you gain the ability to channel magical energy to puppet's performance, using that energy to create a magical effect. You start with 2 effects, Captivate and an effect determined by your style of puppetry. When you use your spell binding performance, some spell binding performance. Okay, cool. You can take the use an object action to channel magic energy into your puppet's performance, using that energy to create a magical effect. You start with 2 effects, Captivate and an effect determined by your style of puppetry. When you use your... Okay. Option 1 is just going to be Captivate. We get a base one that's just going to charm everybody. That's all it is. Let's copy paste it. We're gonna fix it though. There's some things. How did I write this? Oh, let's. Do I have it? Copy paste it down here. Sure. Other creatures. Oh. Have it on the side right here. I know what I'm trying to do. What I wanted to have it say is that creatures within a set amount of feet that can see the puppet must make wisdom saving throws, or they become charmed by you and the puppet until the start of your next turn. Just looking at. Has a lot of choose. Choose a number of creatures up to a number equal to your charisma modifier within 60 feet of your puppet that can't see it. See it. Lead. And a wisdom saving throw. Something very, very basic like that. Captivate has one option. Thinking that choose a number of creatures up to a number equal to your charisma modifier minimum 1 within 60 feet of your puppet that can see it. Each target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or become charmed by you and your puppet until the end of your next turn. You have to. I think part of the thing is with the little disclaimer of becoming you, charmed by you and your puppet. Technically when something is charmed, the source of the charm is the thing charming it. So it feels redundant that the puppet or putting you on there. And the reason I'm kind of clarifying, and I might be able to clear this up, the intention is that both of you in tandem are charming this creature so that you're protected from those creatures. They cannot attack either item, like either your object, which is the puppet, or you. They're friendly to you. So that is the idea. me a sec, really quick. Yeah, makes sense to me. I do think it's a good idea to clarify that because it's not the norm. Yeah, and that's one thing too. Like clarifying it just eases it, removes that question. It's like, well, what's charming it, right? Because both things are both things are targetable. The puppet and the puppeteer are targetable, even though the puppet is an object. This gives it kind of like a soft protection. So this would be this, and give later uses. You must finish a short or long rest to use your spell body performance again. Do we want to follow the? Yeah, because we can do some cool stuff. We'll just need to figure out where we're going to put that level progression. We'll look at for these pieces. The strings cannot be attacked. I think it's going to be like a magical set of strings that are only limited. Because else, here's the problem. If we make the strings attackable, you have to do another level of tracking. That you and your demon are going to be like, yeah, okay, well, the strings extend from 30 feet, so within these spaces, these are the strings are here. Okay, and then on top of that, are the strings tangible, right? Or can players walk through the strings? Can creatures walk through the strings? It just becomes a much more of a needed issue. So if there are like magical strings that you can control, that's a lot easier to maintain and understand. Like, okay, like you just go through them. But also we can do later on, I think what we'll have is that we can increase the range. That the puppet is limited right now by 30 feet, eventually maybe 60 feet, and maybe even at the end there's no strings attached at all. That it's free to walk wherever you need it to. As long as you're commanding it, it's free to move wherever. Alright, give me a sec. I need to run to the kitchen really quick. That the wife came home. Nope. Who's banging on in the kitchen? Okay, I think somebody is. Give me a sec. I know what it was. Dumb neighbors. My neighbors are banging on the wall. Keep thinking it's the door slamming or opening and closing. It's just them. Okay, spell binding performance. Okay, here we go. Class. We'll just do, since spell binding performance is such a like, we're gonna get a second level feature here for the class, so we don't need that there. Critical role. Just want to see where, because we can actually add features to our class a bit, because we don't have a big level of customization compared to the regular warlock class. Yeah, we have our subclass feature at 1. Spellbinding performance is another feature. We gain more features as we level, and then critical role will be our customization feature that'll determine the role. But we don't have invocations, right? We don't have anything like that, or we also don't have in the same sense like the Zodiac, where you have very customizable, switchable cantrips. We don't have any of that. So I think we can add a little bit more features that you wouldn't normally see on a pack caster at certain levels to kind of help boost it. I'm thinking for safeties, to be safe. Okay. Ooh, I know we're at the beginning. Seventh, and then we'll do this at 18. And then we need capstone. Okay. Oh, actually, we don't need an 11th level feature. We already have it. Okay, here we go. Eric has. We'll do that 6th level. Cool. Okay. Gotta maintain. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're cooking, guys. Cooking. Okay, we kind of know what we need here. Here, I already know what we're gonna do. There we go. I know where to place them. So we have a movement. We can move up to 60 feet. We're here. This is where general idea. We can move the puppet up to 60 feet and then it won't die on us. And increase range. We can play more farther, like we play farther out. And then at 18th level, just has unlimited distance completely. All right, so no. Option 1. Option 2. Okay. All right. There's my ideas right now for this extra attack like feature. Either use an object action as a bonus action, so you can still cast spells and then use your bonus action to use an object action. Or when you cast a cantrip, you can also take the use an object action to issue a command to the puppet. And then option 3 is you can issue 2 commands to the puppet when taking the use an object action as your action. The only thing is I'm noticing with this class, it has no bonus action. So maybe we'll reserve bonus action options to what's it called? The subclasses. They get something cool on their bonus action to be able to do something. What do you guys think on that? Yeah, because we do not have a reaction or a bonus action option for this class. Then again, I'm looking at Warlock. Oh. one thing I hadn't really got a chance to look at everything for the latest UA. I know Warlock was on there. I'm gonna kind of pull it up on my side screen to see something really quick. Because I want to just, since I didn't get a chance to see it, I want to see what they did with the spell, or not the spell casting. Hey, wizard got pack magic spell slots are expanded, you can perform an esoteric rite for 1 minute, at the end of which you regain half of those spell slots rounded up once. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. Maybe something we need to actually consider too. I'll catch you guys later. Gotta go take care of some stuff. Hey, no problem, Fallen. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out. You take care. Kind of thinking right now. Yeah, we need to have a spell casting recovery. I need a recovery feature. Now that I'm looking at it, that is an interesting way that they're doing that at second. They're doing theirs at second level. That conflicts with spellbinding performance. That one's a little too good. Part of me wants to change spellbinding performance, keep the name, but have that as our recovery feature, and maybe give us, because I think, okay, here's my rationale now. I'm thinking, it's like we need some level of, because it's looking like now pack casters are going to have a way to recover spell slots in between short rests, which is perfectly fine. I think part of the problem with that's always been my biggest issue with a warlock, where you don't feel active. When they had it as a half caster for the last UA, having that many slots felt really, really good, because you felt not only was I doing the warlock Eldritch Blast thing when I needed to, but I had enough spell slots to really feel like I was a spellcaster. But now that they're reverting back to pack casting because it's unique, whatever, and I see this with what Terran did with Zodiac, and what they're doing in the UA with the new Warlock. There is a spell slot recovery thing. I'm thinking now maybe scrapping the spellbinding performance, have these similar ideas put into subclass features instead. Because while Captivate's cool, you're already gonna have access to Charm, right? We're gonna have access to all the things that what Captivate's gonna do. Maybe have it so that this is our spell recovery feature. We have to perform. Pretty much, we perform in front of people for like a minute, and then we regain spell slots at least during that performance. Maybe that's what we should do. And then also add in like a little extra utility spice on top of it. A little extra thing. Yeah, because well, I like Channel Divinity version. I'm thinking in terms of playstyle and options, I can just do this in the base. Like I can have these spellbinding performance options as actions given to us when we level. And maybe come up with something else for a second level feature for the class given to us by the subclass that we normally can't get. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah. We're gonna do that. I'll just don't delete stuff. You never know when you're gonna get back to it. But yeah, okay. Okay, let's do this. Second level, general idea. Perform for people for a minute. Your spell slot. Nah, because if we make that as it's a part of the stat specific puppet, people might just end up picking that puppet. We don't really want that. Maybe a little extra utility spice. Trying to think what else can we do. I'm just looking up stuff. Looking up some things. Looking up class features and kind of just seeing anything that kind of like gets some inspiration on. I need to look at something for the warlock. Okay, when do we get education here? Okay. What I'm trying to do is balance out right now. I'm looking at it, and what in my head is like, okay, we want to have a play style role for our pet, but with the potential maybe to improve later on what we can do with them, especially since in Warlock there's an evocation system. Excuse me, I need to stop calling it pet with our puppet. The object is improve the playstyle ability with it later. Critical role feature could augment subclass. Yeah, that's true. That's pretty much what it's in a way a pack boon, right? I'll show you guys. Right, we know what pack boons are. All right, we got Pact of the Blade, which allows us to play pretty much a melee lock. Pact of the Chain, we want to have our familiar, right? And then Pact of the Tome, we want to be more spellcastery. Cool, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. You get 3 different playstyles, really. So it is more geared towards determining kind of a playstyle we want with the puppet, and then that's how we want with the warlock. It's a level of customization we're trying to offer in the class. But the thing is, we also have evocations, which we don't have in Puppeteer. Add even more level of customization. My issues with the evocations, while it appears that you have some level of choice to really make and customize your warlock, in reality you don't. It's an illusion of choice, because to be there, obviously there's the quote unquote optimal, right? It's the Eldritch Blast thing, but in reality, kind of just be able to keep up with what you're supposed to be doing and your role in the game. You really, if you're not playing a Hexblade Warlock, you're most likely playing an Eldritch Blast, right? You're gonna take the Eldritch Blast chain because to be viable, because you only have so many spell slots to begin with, and it's not like you're gonna be. They didn't show Pact. Yeah, Pact Talisman doesn't ever show up in here, and that's, I believe it's just to raise survivability. I'll pull it up right now, but ultimately what I'm saying on the evocations is, yeah, you get some flavorful options, but they're not as impactful, and you're gonna skip over them in compared to like the Eldritch Blast chain, adding more damage, allowing you to manipulate the field, because this is your main thing. Like, you're gonna be Eldritch Blasting as a Warlock, unless you're a Hexblade. And even then, there are some Hexblade builds that use Eldritch Blast because it still functions with it. You do get some some prerequisite tomes later, which is cool. Like, you get these upgrades later, which is nice. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool that you have these options later you can pick as you upgrade. Not all of them are solid. It's going to be even more so now that the pack boons are pretty much going away as a class feature because of how evocations are going to be. So, yeah. What I'm thinking, okay. Weapon performance, we'll use this. You perform for a minute with your puppet and you recover spell slots. They only do half here? What's the difference? Half of those. Oh, that's why it's at 5th level, though. You just regain all your Zodiac spell slots and 2 uses of your Celestial Transformation feature. And it's at 5th level. So we'll do this. Very basic, but here we go. If all your stage magic spell slots are expended, you can perform for others with your puppet for 1 minute, at the end of which you regain half those spell slots rounded up. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again. Boom, we get our little feature. Okay, there. Recovery feature. We don't really have any other like big transformational thing. First level again is sixth, 10th, and 14th level. Okay. This third level is going to be our big subclass S feature. Spend time during a short or long rest. That. What I'm trying to do is find a space for in our level progression to maybe add one more upgrade to these, but we don't really get those later, I'm gonna be honest. Or we don't get them directly. I think just making these really good right here. This is what. Use an object action as a bonus action when casting a cantrip. Can also make one can issue 2 commands to the puppet when taken out. What do I want? I think I'm hitting a wall right now, but we did a lot. I think I'm gonna wrap it up right here. We got a lot done. I'm liking the direction we're going with this. As soon as I can figure out what Critical Role is and really nail down 5th edition, or like, excuse me, the 5th level slot. Yeah, that's how my brain's fried. Then what I can do, maybe hold off on some of the end game features, which in reality is 1, 2, like 3 features. We already know what 11th level is gonna be. That will just be our version of Mr. Arcanum. After that, we can probably get some subclasses, at least a couple subclasses, and then it's going to be testable. So far, we got a really solid start. We know what this is. It's providing performance. We changed it so now that it's a recovery thing. It's very, very straightforward. I think those AoE-esque ideas, we could just put them in subclass features instead as subclass abilities that we'll use when we use an object action, and then we'll further get more using object actions with Critical Role depending on which utility or which option we assign our puppet. So frontliner, we definitely gonna give them the attack action. Look at the attack action here. Maybe the attack action will have a goat effect built into it, and maybe we also give it a sentinel effect. We'll see, but definitely gonna give it a special a goading effect, maybe with the melee attack attached to it. It'll just be straightforward, easy, and maybe it's just an upgrade later that it gets sentinel. Trying to think what we can do with playing with the idea of, like, if we get a feat, the feat applies to this, but oh no. Utility expert. Pretty much this is going to be the support, like the out of combat option. That's really what I want out of this one for those that kind of want more out of combat utility, maybe different. And then reproof casting is like the ones that want to be a spellcaster. For sure, we're gonna have this in here where whenever we cast a spell that has a target itself, it applies to the puppet. Definitely want that. A weird idea for the improved spellcaster is to break attack slots into normal spell slots for equal level. That's yeah, I think that's a little overcomplicated for what we're trying to do. Like at that point, for my mindset, because it's also ease of use for player, the big mechanical weight of this class is always going to be controlling the puppet. It's understanding your action economy to move the puppet around, and even then I'm trying to simplify it in a way that, hey, like this is your main thing, right? And then adding a very complicated, a little bit more complicated of like taking this point and making them into more points on top of that is one of those things I think is going to be a bit tough. What I want out of these roles is to it's to provide a certain playstyle, but also, or to provide a certain playstyle and enhance the inherent playstyle of the class. So for those that want a more castery one, we're going to look at different ways to kind of enhance that casting abilities of the class through this. Utility for those that want that out of combat utility here, and then those that want pretty much that my puppet is my tank pet fantasy, boom, we get that there. And we take that here so that we have more room in our subclasses to kind of do different flavor, and like just more focus on flavor and focus more on the flavor of the inspirations, so that we can do more with the subclasses, and then instead of having our subclasses really dictate like a specific role with it. Because that's one thing, that is one thing I find frustrating with Warlock, is that Hexblade is like the de facto melee lock, at least in current 5e, and that in order to play a Fiend Patron Warlock that does melee, right, because you want to play a Hell Knight-esque or a Hell-powered warrior captive multi-class into fighter, or some sort of martial to get those other proficiencies to just do that. So I'm trying to avoid that kind of design too. It's just like, nope. Say you want to be a Fey puppet, a Fey puppeteer, boom. You can do that, but then say your puppet's like a Fey Knight or whatever, like boom. Or they're gonna take more of a appearance of a fairy. Okay, improve casting. Just a little stuff like that. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna sit on this. Thank you guys for hanging out. When will I stream? I'll probably stream again next Sunday. I've been kind of cooling off on the Wednesday streaming times just because with work and stuff in between all the week, I'd just rather relax. That's pretty much going to be the schedule from now on. I'm going to change some things up. So again, there's going to be no videos for the rest of this month. I'm kind of reformulating and changing some things up in terms of content. Like I've announced on the community page, character builds are coming back. We're going to have a bit focus on making character builds that are usable whether you play Baldur's Gate or at the table. It's gonna be a bit of that. Still trying to determine if they're gonna be long form or if we're just gonna do some short form shorts with this when I start posting again in October. Also in October, there's going to be some nice graphical updates and changes. So expect that too. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna do new stuff, and I'll be back in the fold of things of just doing content again heavily on top of just streams. So yeah. Other than that, check out Skyzephyrs. So there's a link in the description. This week is going to be the last week that it is up on the Kickstarter, so please go check it out. And if you want to back it, go ahead and back it. Use the link in the description. I get a little kickback, so you're supporting me, you're supporting them, and you get some cool stuff out of it. Also, in terms of supporting me, this Friday, all the way from the 15th until the 15th, so September 15th all the way to October 15th, the Luchador will be on sale. I believe I want to do it at 50% off in celebration of Hispanic and Latin American Heritage Month. So yeah, the Luchador will go on sale. If you haven't picked it up, you can get it for cheaper. So definitely wait till Friday and pick it up. And that about does it. Thank you guys for hanging out. And I will see you guys on the next one. You guys take care and have a good one.